Okay, this is lesson 2, going back for the newbies, and it's values. And so it's going to be in black and white with adding in grays. And there's a very nice E composition here. And also, this fence line creates a really nice composition right here. Okay, so this is what we're going to concentrate on, and we're going to concentrate on this and keeping our values, and I'll show you how to keep your whites. Okay, so in watercolor we do not mix white in with our paint to make it lighter. We mix more water, and that gives us, first of all, it gives us the luminosity that is so beautiful about watercolor, but it also, that's how you get your gradient of color or your value of color. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to draw it out, which, and when you are, this is a very good practice, the rule of thirds. I mark my tape. I still do always, because you don't want your horizon line to be in the middle, and you don't want your center of interest to be in the middle. All right. So my horizon line is actually right here by this pin, this right here, this fence. Okay. So I'm going to start that here. Well, a little bit up, because I'm going to put that fence there, and then I'm going to put the tall fence just a little bit above my center. Okay. This is my split rail, and you don't need to put a lot in. And then here's the other split rail. And this one kind of, this goes like this. And then you have this big 6-foot fence back here, okay? All right, so we have that. And then we're doing our trees. So we have this tree. And we have this, and then we have this tree right here. If you can see it. And then you have this big spruce, and you have this, it's autumn maple leaf, but you know. Okay, right here. All right, so that's all I've marked in. Okay. And when you want to, when you start painting, you want to mist your palette. All right, let's go. So I'm going to just do the bottom of the fence. And this is a little bit, so I'm leaving space for my white snow. That's what I'm doing. So that's why I have a broken line. And be sure to leave room for your snow down here, okay? And the other reason I chose this is about eliminating things that are in your painting that you don't necessarily need. Look, I'm not going to put these poles. Right? And then we have a second. Okay. And actually this is going to be our spruce, so we don't need to do too much right there. And I'm doing it light for a couple of reasons. This way I can leave areas that I want white, and I can come back in and make it darker. All right, so then we're coming back to this split rail right here. Now there's a tree right in here. And actually, you can't tell it from this picture, but this split rail is right up beside this fence. This was in our backyard in Colorado. Oh, that's blue. It's good to know what's on your palette. There we go. Black. Okay. And if you can get away with a really nice, when you're doing a straight line, just like that. That's all you gotta do. You rest your wrist down. Okay. And then this is the outside of the fence, and that's where the snow is. Okay. So. And I'm just going to keep things a light gradation before I get to with my details. Okay. But I do want to take this up, so don't forget, because this okay. So there's the rest of that fence. And we're going to leave the white by just squiggling a line for our snow. Look at that. Okay. So this is wet, so I'm going to start over here, okay? And this spruce is really dark. And you're just dancing your brush. Not dabbing your brush, but dancing your brush. So daubing is like this, dancing. You're making your pattern. And this tree, this limb is going here. So we'll bump it up so we can see that. That's snow. Okay, and then this is really dark down here. Okay. just making these twigs. And when you're making your twigs, you keep your brush vertical so you can use the point of your brush. Okay. Actually, that goes off the page, and so we want that. That's part of the composition. It'll make it more interesting. Good. Okay, let's curl that around. Some of these are curly. That's more interesting. Okay, here we are. Good. So I'm going back over here. This is dry. So you can test with the back of your finger or the back of your hand. So this is dry enough. So I'm not doing all these branches. That would just be so much, okay? So that tree starts behind the split rail. Okay. And I'm just lightly taking my brush. And I really kind of want this to be gray back here. And if you want to lose something, you can lift. Okay. And I know there's trees back here, and so we can get a little wispy, or we can just do the shape of a tree, which is actually be easier, better, more interesting. Okay. All right. And then we're going to do this guy. Now, that's actually behind. Okay. And I only generally wet where I'm working. I don't hardly ever wet my home. whole paper. There are some people that do, but I prefer not to. Okay, so I'm going to focus on this tree, which is just you know, and that is behind that fence. You can see it down here. Okay. It just has so much snow. Can't. Okay. And I do kind of want this a little smoky back here. All right, because this will help us get our and yes, normally you would put your, and I want this really light. You would put your sky in first, but then it would have been hard to get your whites, leave your whites. And so and really I'm just using what's on the sky. Okay. And I'm gonna dab. I'm gonna come over here. And so I need to fill this in more. So we're gonna do that. Try to keep that round shape. So I'm just at the bottom of my white, putting a little shadow. this year. And then a couple more right here. All right. So I'm going to go back in. And fill this tree in with this. And you can just random put your board planks in, okay? And actually with this, when you're doing a straight line, like a fence or something, just get a flat brush, use your flat brush. And you'll get that sense of a And so if you go too far, just like I did, you're going to lift. And even in your tree, I think, if you'll push up a little bit, but we can also use white to fix. You can use white to fix mistakes, but you don't use it to thin out to make your paint lighter. Okay, so we have that, and now we have this little, we're going to do this little split rail. So I want to be sure. So in watercolor, if you, this is the reason why I don't wet everything, because in watercolor, the paint will only go where the water is. So you can pre-wet something. And then you can come back and it will only go where you put your paint. Okay. And in here, we're just give the illusion of a tree. Okay, I might have to go over that a couple of times. All right, sticking with the fence. So we're going to, because this is all white, but we were going to finish this fence down here. Okay. Okay. Come back in, give these more attention. Okay. Okay. So we're going to thin this out right here. And just get the illusion of a little snowdrift. And that can be down in here too, like right in here, around your posts. Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to add some branches here. And here, but it's going to be lighter, and that will push this forward. Okay. All right. So here's a fun thing.